What's up, everyone, on the World Wide Web? My name is Jesse, and this week I graduated college. That's right, this week I graduated college with a degree in sociology, and you might be wondering, what does sociology have to do with nerd stuff, with stories and all that things? So I'd like to just kind of go over my educational journey with you a little bit and talk to you a little bit about making a nerdy living. So I've always been somewhat of a nerd. I'm going to take this off. This is annoying. There we go. All right. So I've always been somewhat of a nerd, and I love the creativity and the stories and everything that goes along with fantasy and science fiction. So growing up, I think my very first book was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It took me forever to read it, but eventually I got through it, and I loved it. So obviously I kept with it and reading and watching these stories that have always inspired me. So I get to college, and ultimately, what am I interested in? Well, I'm ultimately interested in writing a book. For those who don't know, I am writing a fantasy novel right now. It's still in the works, and I'm still hoping to get it done by the end of the year. But when I got to college, I chose sociology because sociology is the study of people and the study of culture and the social structures that we have in society. Now, you'll notice that a lot of books actually have a lot of this in them. If you go to Aragon, for instance, Aragon is kind of a ripoff of Star Wars, a fantasy version of Star Wars, but Christopher Paolini really focuses on the culture, and the culture is very, very important in that series. So you have the Elvish culture, you got the Dwarven culture, you got the human culture, you got the orc-like culture, right? So without studying that culture, that series would not be quite as entertaining. So I went into sociology thinking that I could learn more about everything to do with society, everything to do with how peoples and other people work and all of that. So I went to college with that perspective in mind. I love dystopian novels. So having that kind of mindset going to college was very interesting to me. Now, as time went on in sociology, I discovered that it doesn't pay so well. So I started leaning other direction. Ultimately, I am doing more social media marketing right now. However, as the journey of my education went through, I was able to take classes from creative writing and propaganda, from various communication classes, and all of these still contribute to my knowledge of fantasy writing and sci-fi writing as well. And ultimately, has helped me to understand people better, understand culture better as well. And now today I actually want to talk to you ultimately about how can you make a nerdy living? How can you take your geeky interests and make them into a job? Now, first off, I do not claim to be any kind of expert on this. However, I'm taking a lot of my stuff from this book, Make a Nerdy Living by Alex Langley. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend it for those people who are exploring the possibilities of what they want to do with their lives and incorporate their very nerdy and geeky interests in their own lives. And real quick, too, I think it's very important for us to find jobs that we can fit in well, right? A lot of us have our creative minds, our creative mindset, that we're always imagining something different, another universe. And I think that we need to employ those skills and those mindsets into society and contribute in a way that is unique to us, but we can also help others as well. The first thing that the book brings up is blogging. Blogging is something you do online, posting articles about nerdiness. You can do critiques on movies, you can do theories, you can do a lot of different things. Then you can do video. Obviously, I'm making videos right now. It might surprise you, but I'm not making money doing this. This is simply a hobby. That is why actually over the last couple weeks I haven't been posting anything, because I've been busy with graduating and getting all that ready. And life happens. But video is very interesting because you can, I'm sure you've seen a whole lot of YouTube videos about nerdiness, and it's very exciting to see that videos have been so prevalent, and we can share a lot of our ideas via video and YouTube and Facebook videos and all these things. Next they mention is cosplay. Now cosplay is the creation of costumes, and very high quality costumes. You can sell these kind of things. It's kind of an arts and crafts kind of deal where you can actually create these characters in costume. There's been some incredible designs and incredible costumes that are very, very intricate and high quality. I'm sure you can sell those things to make a living. Next is crafting items. So you'll see people like creating lightsaber hilts and all these kind of things. It's very they're making items for certain genres and certain characters, right? And it's very similar to the cosplay, but you're specifically focusing on the items. Next they mention is gaming. Gaming is one of those things where you want to be a professional gamer, right? Well, you can do that. Just a heads up, that is very labor intensive and it's not as fun as you might think. You can broadcast some of that stuff. That kind of crosses over with video making. But you can make videos of you gaming. You can also create your own games, like board games, for instance. Next they mention is podcasting. Podcasting is very similar to what I'm doing right now, actually, without the video. You can post certain podcasts of nerdiness on Spotify, on Pandora, anywhere there's podcasts. You can upload those. A lot of those are free, actually, too. So you can, as long as you're entertaining enough, you can start building an audience around that. Next is arts and comics. Now, arts and comics, that's drawing and illustrating and all these things that you can draw and visualize these concepts. If you've seen some fan base art like DeviantArt, a lot of that stuff is very cool. And I mean, you can do things like, for instance, there's certain various games like Magic the Gathering, for instance, that they need artists to create high quality art. And so if you can get yourself hired by them, you can potentially make a living. Next they mention is writing books. Now, obviously, I'm writing a book right now, as I mentioned before, but it's not super profitable. It's actually pretty hard to get into this kind of industry. So what I would suggest is doing it as a hobby. Try to do and explore so many ideas and just write all the time. Create ideas and look for unique concepts that can engage people, and I might suggest tackling modern issues within the story that really resonates with people. And lastly is to incorporate your nerdiness into a conventional job. That could be anywhere from, for instance, if you are an HR person, if you're doing a contest, you could do various nerdy contests within the business you're working for. So if you have for instance, a comic book costume party, I don't know. You have to be really creative with these kind of things, but you can incorporate this kind of nerdiness into a conventional job. Now, ultimately, we want to be nerds. We want to geek out, and we want to love what we're doing. And I think it's very important for us to emphasize that we do have something to contribute to society, and we want to do something amazing. And I think that all of us have the potential to do something really amazing with our creative minds. Now remember, it's not what you watch, but how you watch it that makes you a scholar.